Bill kind of start with his presentation.
Okay, I'm going to say a few things about Bill.
Perfect.
Quite a bit. Bill has a rich history, so we're going to dive right in here. Bill was born in Washington, D.C. and spent his childhood in Los Angeles. For everyone that might not know Mr. William Bill Marshak, he is our editor and publisher of the Tri-City Voice newspaper here in Fremont, but it serves many local communities. I'll get into that in a sec. So following childhood, Bill went on to earn his undergrad degree from Earlham College in Indiana and completed postgraduate work at Cal State University, Los Angeles. And he did that in biology and chemistry with a focus on sleep research. Let's see, Bill also participated in an internship program at Los Angeles Unified School District in 1968. He has a California Lifetime Teaching Credential. He served in the intelligence service in the US Navy. And it looks like he specialized in submarine and maritime warfare. And he has been involved in organized sports, including track, wrestling, and rugby. Bill has been a resident of the Bay Area since 1972. He moved from Aptos, which is gorgeous, Bill, to Fremont in 1996. Just 2 years later, Bill and his wife Sharon co-founded What's Happening, Inc. So What's Happening was a magazine. He was editor and publisher there and is currently editor and publisher of our beloved Tri-City Voice newspaper. And I think to be an editor and to publish every week as you do your opinion piece, you have to have a really broad background, and you certainly have your professional experience. Wow, U.S. Forest Service firefighter, sports, fisheries, and wildlife service, quality control and research at Newts and Dairy, secondary school teacher in science and math, pharmaceutical sales rep and manager, U.S. Navy Intelligence Service, I mentioned that a moment ago, and financial advisor in insurance, securities, corporate planning, and benefits. Wow. So Bill, welcome. Thank you for giving us your time. I'm going to let you take this over. I just want to say thank you for just at the top for all you do. You give back so much to the community. Publish so many events and support nonprofits. So thank you, and I'll let you take the floor now.
Well, thank you very much. I guess you could say I've tried lots of things. I don't know if I've been successful, but certainly tried a lot of things. And I appreciate the time. Sharon and I started this enterprise in order to really celebrate the community and all the people that were here and are here now. We feel that it's important for people to understand what's happening in their community and also the history, what did happen. That leads you to why you're in the position you're in now, and hopefully a roadmap to the future. So what I wanted to do was basically just start with kind of the basics of journalism. And I didn't go to J school, I didn't go to journalism school. So this is all from pretty much my own experience. But one of the first things you learn is the 5 W's. And that's the who, what, where, when, why. And of course, there has to be another outlier, and that's how. So if you get all those into whatever you're trying to transmit to someone else, you're going to be able to communicate what you want to. You'd be surprised at the number of ads and information that we receive, which doesn't have some of those important factors to it. Sometimes we'll get an ad and it doesn't tell you where an event is. After selling everyone on going to the event, they don't know where to go, or they don't know what time it is, or they don't know when it is. So just to have your little checklist, that really helps a lot. Your story, you are selling something to the community. You're selling it to the reader. And in order to sell it, it's got to be able to attract their attention. And attention spans these days are very limited. So it has to attach some interest almost immediately. And if you don't do that, doesn't matter how wonderful your organization is or how great your article is, you're not going to go any further than the first paragraph. It's the same holds true for visual. If your visual is not very enticing, people are going to go no further. They're used to looking at a headline or reading a few lines, and that's about it. Everything happens very quickly these days. So if you use the W's attached to the story that you're trying to tell, first thing you want to know is, who are you talking to? Who's your audience? And then what are you trying to explain? And what's the history of your organization? So if you've been around a long time, you can make somewhat of an assumption. People know it, but I wouldn't make that, all the way across the board, because there are always people who don't know about your organization, and they're the people that you're going to recruit. They don't know anything about it. What are the services that you give? When should your audience act? Are you telling them that you need something now? Are you telling them that you need something in the future? So what is it that you're asking for, and what's the time frame? This all works into when you deal with us. I'll get to that in a little bit. Why should someone support you? Why do they care? What are the emotional points? People usually buy on emotion. And in order to attract people to your organization, you really have to raise the level of emotion for them so that they want to be part of it, one way or another, either contributing money, contributing their time, whatever way they're going to do it, want to hit their emotional button. How can they contact and support you? Make it easy as possible for people to contact you. We try to do that for you with a little blurb at the end of each article, so that gives them your contact. These days, people have gotten used to the computer, so most of them will be able to do it that way. And as time goes on, they may find other ways to contact you. How long have you been in business? For some people, that's important. So have you been around for 2 days or 20 years? If you've been around for a while, sometimes people give importance to that. If you're just starting off, some people will give importance to that as well, saying, I want to help this fledgling organization. Now, as far as contacting us, pretty easy to contact. Just pick up the phone or email us or whatever, however you want to get in touch with us. And we'll try to help you out as much as we can. What we try to do is set a few ground rules. That is, for organizations, like to have a primary contact if possible. So we're not getting 3 or 4 people contacting us. And sometimes we get different information from different people. And it makes it confusing to us as to know what's the real story. Who do we contact? What if something isn't going quite the way it should? How do we get in touch with the person who can make sure the organization understands that and we get a fast answer? What is your time? We know what our time limits are. We can translate that to you. We need to know what you need to have and when you need to have it. A lot of times people come to us and say, we're planning something in the future. That doesn't help us. We don't know what that means. And many cases, organizations feel that they can pull something together very quickly. And for us, we're a weekly publication, which means that we're always planning a week in advance. And if you're looking at something that's happening next week, that may be too late for us. You want to prepare people for what you want them to do. And typically, that's a couple of weeks in advance. Now, people take action that week, but they need to know it's coming up. So you can't do it too far in advance. You don't want to tell somebody something a month in advance, because in many cases they say, oh yeah, I'll think about it in a couple of weeks. But you do want to tell them a couple of weeks in advance. And then you want to tell them again as a reminder, week in advance, or that week that it's going to occur. So they know it's coming, you remind them it's coming, then it happens. That's a progression, and you want to know what your progression is as far as what you're going to tell people and when you're going to tell them. Do you want additional copies of the newspaper for distribution at whatever you're doing or to whoever you know? We can arrange for that, but we have to know that in advance. I'm not a multi-million-dollar organization, so I'm pretty tight on my ordering. But if I know that you need 100, 200, 500 copies, I can make those available to you. But I can't do that the day that I'm receiving my publication. If you have a promotion that's ongoing, then you need to have a plan for that as well. We can do something for you. It won't be an article every week, but we may be able to help you on an ongoing basis. And we do that for some things. We have just a small little ad and it runs continuously. We can do that. Do you want to follow up with a thank you? And we can help you with that as well. So a lot of times you may be putting on some type of an event, and one of your sales pitches to the promoters or to the people who are supporting you, your sponsors, is you're going to do a thank you. No, who did it? And we can help you with that as well. When you design an ad, Sharon's here with me. You can't see her, but she's here listening to all this. She pretty much handles that. But I'm going to show you some ads, and you're going to get the idea from those ads. We think these are very successful ads. They're stories, but the visuals are an advertisement. They're clear and concise. They convey a message. They tell you something about the organization, and also they're emotional. They're visually appealing, and they're powerful messages given. They're not cluttered. Sometimes people feel they have to fill every available space. Sometimes space is good. So you don't have to feel that you have to get everything into that image. Image is there to convey a feeling, not to necessarily convey the whole message. So if you can get that feeling across to people, they're going to want to know more. Also, you want to tell people, kind of give them what's expected from them, if possible. The article itself that's attached to the visual message has to be fairly short and concise. What we look at here is the sweet spot for articles. It's 500 to 800 words, no more than 1,000. If it's over 1,000 words, it better be good, better be damn good, because people typically don't hang in there for that long. If it's a Q&A that you're putting in there, then it can go long. It's broken up in pieces. Also, you want to make sure that it is well edited. We'll try to edit for you, but if you use simple sentences all the way through that start with the, get tired of the board, you leave it. So you've got to have got to mix your simple and compound sentences. Try to make it as interesting as possible. Don't worry about getting every sentence. People can absorb 2, maybe 3 major points. That's it. That's what you have to get across to them. I've gotten so many articles where the first paragraph is the first sentence. And a run-on sentence, after a while, you get lost in the sentence. So try not to do that. The best thing to do that I've found is read it out loud and read it to somebody else out loud. If you read your article out loud, you're going to catch them. If you read it to somebody else out loud, you're going to catch even more. And what's more, they're probably going to tell you it needs a lot of work, which I hate doing because I hate to rewrite my story. On the other hand, very, very helpful. So if you read it to someone else, you're going to get their response to it, not yours, not your internal response. So that's the best thing that I can tell you. I think a lot of it is individualized for what you want to do, but we're here to help you. We're going to do everything we can to make whatever you want to get across a success. And we are not a huge company, so you come in the door. I mean, when you're vaccinated, come on in, and we'll help you as much as we pretty much do most of this at cost. A lot of it we do gratis, and just a matter of what you need done, what we can do for you. But we're here really to help the community. We did move here from a beautiful place, Aptos, but we think Fremont and its environs is beautiful too. And when we first moved here, found that a lot of people really took many of the things here for granted, or they just realized they had. And we feel that it's very important for people to see activity, for people to understand that there's a lot to this area and that it has value. You all know the value that you have, know the value. That's what we're going to try to translate to the general population. So I've got some slides, and Tina, just hit share screen. Is that right? Can't hear you.
Sorry, I just made you a co-host. So you should be able to share.
Can you see that?
No, but I've just hit share screen now too, so you should be able to share.
All right. Yep.
It's not up yet.
Oh,
There.
there we go.
Yep,
Okay.
perfect.
So I think one of the things that I found when I got into sales, I had been a teacher and gone through academia, and I went to interview for a job selling pharmaceuticals. They said, "Well, what do you have? What's your experience in selling?" And I said, I was in the most difficult environment you could ever imagine. I sold education to kids. And I firmly believe that what we all do is we sell. That you're in the business of selling your organization, doing wonderful things for people, but you're in business of selling. So I'm going to show you some of these visuals that sell. And you see this, I'm just going to go through these and you can see how they operate. These are pictures that draw you in. That's what I have.
That
The
is fair.
images, yeah, the images were very helpful. You know, we're always, I know personally when I go to submit something to the paper, Bill and Sharon, you know, I think at this point I've got a sense of what you're looking for, but I think that's very, very important. Just submitting something that's high. Do you want to talk about like format or like resolution on photographs other than content?
The Sharon's here. She can talk to you about that, but why don't you want to talk to them about resolution?
You can get a high resolution picture with your phone. Okay, so you don't have to have no, I don't like being on Zoom. But you can take a picture with your phone, send them in, we can check them out. You don't have to have a fancy camera. You've been taking pictures for years without them, but thinking through what your message is. It may be a drawing, maybe pictures you've taken at different events. Some of you've been doing your events longer than others. But some of my favorites are, it's got to get me before it goes on the front page, because that's my big sale point. That's where I get more, I increase my audience. So I don't care how much I love you and your event. It's not going to go on the front page unless I can make it pop out and get the attention. After a while, people start realizing that and start thinking of pictures to use. So you've got to plan those ahead of time. The theaters had trouble when we first started. Nobody took pictures of stuff. But I think that like the one for hers, for example, by showing the dolls, gets your attention and makes you stop and think about what the purpose is, why you're there at the event. And the one for Alzheimer's really got me. The little boy saying that he's losing his grandfather and how sad that is. So it's the saying that has the woman with the black eye. I love the stories that pull you in, like homeless people, that how they've turned their lives around. I can get a pull quote out of a story and make that serve the same purpose as the picture. A lot of times when people do flyers, they clutter them up and they type, because they do a reverse. You've got a dark background, can't read information on it. That always kind of bothers me. But one picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you want people to read the article and get involved, they've got to really believe in what you're doing. Remember, Drivers for Survivors. And I said to her, what do you do? And why should I care about it? And Linda Wasserman gave me the answer. Sometimes the people are too close to their own project to see it. But Linda said, you know, if I get sick and I have to go to the hospital, if I get cancer, I have money. I can afford to get there. But having somebody go with me that cares and understands, that I can't buy. And that's what Drivers for Survivors, that's what they did. And so that made me feel that what the reason why I was going to invest in that project, and having bullet points for you guys to say whatever your project is, what you want. And everybody's got something that's going to tug at their heartstrings. And the picture and the story helps us to get people to get involved. Yeah, any questions?
Very valuable information. And some of it sounds really easy and like we should have known that. But reminders, even things we know, it's just such great reminders to hear this information from you both tonight.
Can I ask one
You
question?
guys know your projects and you're involved, you know so much about it. You don't realize that other people don't know.
I have one question. I know that you have some amount of staff, professional writers who sometimes cover stories. How, and of course, it's easier for you if we all write our stories and send them to you, but how do you decide when a story is enough that you want to assign one of your writers to do
Good one.
Okay, short shift.
Well, Bill, I could recommend, but Bill usually makes those choices. And we pay our writers, so it has to be something that's important. We often will augment what you say and use our writers to help flesh out the story and make it more interesting. So that we can do for you too. So all you have to do is ask. We're here to help.
Good to know. Good, good, good. Other questions? I think we've got about another 2 minutes on this topic. So if there are other questions. No? Okay.
I put a question in the chat, which was, do you require a permission to use photo, as well as do you need the name of the people that are portrayed in the photos?
If they're at a public event, you don't have to have permission, but it's always a good idea to ask them. People usually will, don't mind being in the paper. They know how we put the paper together. We're pretty careful about all that, but particularly if you use children. But if you're at an event and people are running or doing things, and hopefully we're going to get back to doing that, then you don't have to ask permission.
Thank you.
Very good. We're going to kind of change things up a little bit here, I think, because I'm kind of going as the landscape changes a little bit here. Please check the chat room because we do have some nice comments in there. But we have someone who just